Hello, and thank you for joining us for April's Ask a Nurse program with the Brooklyn Hospital Center. My name is Lauren Galvin, and I work with Live On New York, and I'm here to tell you how we can care for New Yorkers through organ donation. Live On New York is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to save lives, provide comfort, and strengthen legacies through organ, eye, and tissue donation. We work with local hospitals and transplant centers to deliver the gift of life, and we care for the families of the organ donors who selflessly give that gift. We educate the community about the power of donation, and we advocate on behalf of those who are currently waiting for a life-saving transplant. The impact is great that one donor and multiple donors can have. Over 27,000 people have given life-saving organ transplants. 590,000 lives have improved through tissue donation. 6.5 million registered organ and tissue donors enrolled in New York. And Live On New York and the Brooklyn Hospital Center help service 13 plus million New Yorkers across 12 counties. The need for organ donation is still great. There are 10,000 New Yorkers currently waiting for life-saving organ transplants, and 8,000 of those are currently in the service area that Live On New York works with. As you can see, the most needed organ are kidneys. However, there are still a great need for the other organs as well. And one donor can help save up to 8 lives through solid organ donation and can improve up to 50 lives through tissue donation. We still need to take action, however, because only 42% of New Yorkers are currently registered organ donors, and this low registration rate has led to an organ shortage. And due to that shortage, those who need transplants end up waiting longer. And on average, one New Yorker dies per day waiting for a life-saving organ transplant.
Hello, my name is Karen Gans. I am a registered nurse and a certified procurement transplant coordinator with Live On New York, and I'm going to talk to you about understanding the donation process. Here are some conditions that can lead to organ transplants. Diabetes and hypertension can result in the need for a kidney transplant. Untreated hepatitis and cirrhosis can lead to someone requiring a liver transplant. Congestive heart failure and cardiomyopathy are conditions that may require a heart transplant. It is important to know and to take care of yourself. Diabetes and hypertension, hepatitis, cirrhosis, congestive heart failure, and cardiomyopathy are diseases that must be found by your primary care physician through either a clinic or a doctor. So it is important for you to go and make sure that you're checked out by a physician or through a clinic. There are many in your local area and in this neighborhood. So here we have some pictures of liver, kidney, and heart recipients. They look just like us. So it's important to make sure you go to your doctor and make sure you get checked out. Registering on the transplant waiting list. What happens? So you must get a referral. A doctor must refer a patient to a transplant program as a potential candidate. They gather information. The transplant center will collect details on the patient, an evaluation appointment. The transplant center will conduct an evaluation to find out if a patient is a good candidate for a transplant and get listed. If the transplant team members determine that a patient is a suitable candidate, they will add the person to the national transplant waiting list. It's a good thing we have several transplant centers right here in New York that are able to help our New Yorkers get transplanted. And how does somebody become an organ donor? Primarily, it is through the Department of Motor Vehicles, but we have several different ways that people can become registered through the voter registry, IDNYC, Donate Life New York State, and the New York State Department of Health. And what if somebody doesn't sign up to be an organ donor? If somebody hasn't signed up to be an organ donor at the time of their death, donation is still possible. Family members who can authorize donation on a person's behalf include spouse or domestic partner if not legally separated, parent, adult child, sibling, grandparent, adult grandchild, or legal guardian. And this is a picture of Tomasa. She donated her son's organs when he passed away. And how does organ donation happen? Organ donation only happens when a patient dies in a hospital and has been declared dead by a doctor. A patient must be signed up as an organ donor, or authorization has to be granted by a family member or legal guardian on a patient's behalf. Candidates for organ donation must have been placed on a ventilator prior to their death or have died while on a ventilator. Extensive testing is performed to ensure that the organs are healthy and to identify matching a transplant recipient. How are donated organs matched to the transplant recipients? Several factors are considered when matching an organ to a waiting patient: blood type, body mass, rank on the national transplant waiting list, geographic proximity between the donor and recipient. Information gathered from the medical tests are used to identify the best match from the transplant waiting list. It is illegal to make organ donation matches based on race, gender, religion, income status, social status, or celebrity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Safia, and if you still have questions, we're here to help answer them. So in this next segment, we're going to be going over some of the most common myths and misconceptions about organ, eye, and tissue donation. So the most common myth that we hear is that people feel that if they sign up to be an organ donor, that the doctors will not try as hard to save their life. This could be furthest from the truth. Everyone in the hospital, every doctor, nurse, EMT, every healthcare professional is legally obligated to do everything in their power to save their patient's life. Live on New York is a separate organization from the hospital to rule out that conflict of interest. The next common misconception that we hear is that people feel that it may be against their religion, or they're not sure if it's against their religion. There are faith leaders in almost every religion that celebrate organ, eye, and tissue donation as an opportunity to save lives, to extend someone's blessings, and to give life to others through a final act of kindness. The next that we hear is that people are concerned that they may be too old or too sick to donate. We always tell people, don't rule yourself out. Anyone over the age of 16 is able to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor. And extensive testing is done at the time of donation to determine the healthiest organs to be transplanted. The next concern that we have, that we hear often, is that people don't always think that they can have a normal funeral. So Live on New York works very closely with the families to make sure that all of their wishes and their and what they want for their family can be upheld. And so we're very sensitive to timing, and we're also very sensitive to viewing options that the family may have. And then the last one that we hear is that families are sometimes concerned that they have to pay, or someone signing up to be an organ donor may be concerned that their family will have to pay after their death. There is no cost associated with being an organ donor whatsoever, not to the person who signs up, nor to their family. So often we hear, so what comes next? We invite you to talk this topic over with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and make sure that they know what your wishes are. The other option is that once you have decided what your wishes are, you're welcome to sign up yourself as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. This is really helpful to your family so that they know exactly what your wishes are. And the last thing that we tell people is talk about this issue out in your community. It's very possible that you know someone who is currently on the transplant waiting list. And so helping to advocate for this cause could help someone that you know. So I'd like to share very briefly stories of two people who are touched by donation. So Angelica is 20 years old, and she's currently waiting for a heart transplant. If you notice, she has a purse that she carries with her with a small white wire coming from it. That wire is actually connected to her heart, and in that bag is a pump that's helping to circulate blood throughout her body. Without a heart transplant, Angelica will not have the opportunity to live the life that she wants to live. I also want to bring your attention to Detective Moore. So she is a cornea transplant who had a medical condition that was deteriorating her sight. She couldn't do things like read or drive a car, simple things that we all take for granted. Due to the generosity of an organ donor, she was able to get a transplant to get a new cornea. Several months later, her father was experiencing liver failure, and she was able to be a living donor to her own father by donating a piece of her liver. So organ, eye, and tissue donation has the ability to transform lives, and we hope that you'll consider it. If you would like to sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor yourself, I invite you to visit donatelife.ny.gov to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor.
Thank you, Sophia, Lorraine, and Karen from Live On New York. I am Leolinda Magawang, and I'm the critical care nurse educator here at the Brooklyn Hospital Center. So here at the Brooklyn Hospital Center, we had patients who have donated organs, and our nurses work with patients, families, doctors, social work, palliative care team, and others to ensure that respect and dignity are provided to all patients involved with organ donation. We also provide spiritual care support when needed, and we have in-house chaplains that we can call up anytime, 24/7. We are here for you if you need us, so please feel free to reach out to one of our TBHC team members, whether they're unit managers or social workers, so we can provide you support and Live On New York resources. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.